Hello, Wethersfield. There were a whole bunch of people tied to a Coach Hagenbart, a principal, a gym teacher. I never had a personal conversation with him. Him and other, there's also ones with name Shay who have roles with criminal enterprises and private ones per their sources. In other words, and per some Wethersfield police chiefs retired who've been switching names and their family member. Increasingly, people tied to a Reno Mazzucato. Reno, I'm sorry if you didn't pretend to know me. In other words, and make fake exceptions and try to pretend it was anything other than it was. If you did, then you should get them on paper right now because this police chief Cintron 1 years ago, before him, is involved on my street with names involved with falsified police reports, identity theft, fraud, slander, little tricks, take a picture around me and then pretend I was around them. In other words, that's what they do. Even with, in other words, all exceptions of how I know people. That's also brought up by the people that are forging and switching names, and they faked conversations with me, also with medical families. A whole bunch of people tied to a Rick Sanfaglione sought me out to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. There are medical families like a Leahy family who attached me to fake conversations through the mail with them. Brian Silver is also involved with that. I never had a conversation with him either. He's one of the ones involved with wire and mail crime methods with the Wethersfield police, switching and forging names, putting fake phone transcripts with the FBI, writing forensics, and with the Joshua Julian and their Facebook pages. The social media, they have criminally foreign influence readings of statutes and precedents originally instilled that only capable of being, as is discernible, per their subject treatments of what which trials are about and per their non-treatments of it. Because it's critical what they're about because they're right next to the founding location where George Washington had to come with James Madison's plan and counter extort, but leave slavery entrenched northern colonies, southern colonies, and those crazy fact treatment, nature, torture, extortion, and slavery laws against every single person that our founders also declassified to us to communicate about. But instead, we have their words and roles with them self-valued and people pretending, oh, what's your research? You guys are using criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, fact treatment, nature, quality aspects of nature, and collusion/S. In the prisons, like there's a Sandy Hook prison, is involved with child abusers intercities and medical offenders at Hartford Hospital, reportedly also and demonstrably as ones involved with Adam Lanza and with all kinds of natures of organized crimes at the same time. The same ones that at and next to the elderly homes as ones that were involved with proven years apart, first forced leaders of the kids, child abusers. See, there are other natures of crimes they had roles with then and now. Wethersfield police have a police chief Cintron and his daughter with their sources say Jessica confessed to Jessica Cintron and their kids with a Reno Mazzucato. They reported they have kids together. And there are ones with the name Leahy, also on Facebook, involved with predicate acts with them. They faked conversations with their little kids on Facebook. You little creepy punk. These are people with judges putting fake things in records with child sex offenders. There's a Judge Killian. He's a sick, disgusting bastard. Tactically delusions raw, too. And then you guys lie about what you think about what people say about others because you're sequence shifting. You have mandated law obligations that you forbid, and you're lying about your motivations. You're being coached. Everyone's following. In other words, there's a whole bunch of different countries involved, and people at the World Trade Center involved from Wethersfield, Connecticut, who are involved at the World Trade Center, the spots next to it, even the night before, in long-term and short-term other ways too. And the court next to it, the Ninth Circuit Court, names on all sides of that case. Their sources and the court itself had a sequence shift that was proven after the World Trade Center attack, but it had been presented to the panel of judges that day. They're all involved. Names of all that are involved with predicate acts with me with the names at Central Connecticut State University in the Britain, Connecticut, with police forms intercities and interstates, involved with predicate acts in my streets with the ones from other areas that brought it up. They're also trying to make it look like I'm tied to them in the other houses, involved with the wire crimes. These are police phones families too, involved with the World Trade Center predicate act, with timed collusions with Saudis that didn't want collusions. The attack, like Saudi Arabia and America, was used remotely by collusions with the Saudi attackers and the overt criminal enterprises, private ones, with the Wethersfield police, and their roles at campuses with predicate acts methods recorded clearer than day. Black pupils. It is time. So there's some black KKK themed Confederate flag themed on Facebook with them, with the child sex offenders, leaders of kids on their Facebook pages of the schools, and the pretending passions, emotions, little punks. That's why they have Joshua Julian with the people named Mark Violet and Mike Violet and Jonathan Wow and Eric Jensen next to Hartford Hospital, involved with a whole bunch of people at Hartford Hospital with mail and wire crimes. They have lawyers, all kinds of scams there, and delusions raw. We're going to address this, black pupils. We're going to address them with the black KKK theme overt crimes on Facebook. And they're replacing and changing digital evidences with whiting forensics. Increasingly, crimes with criminals and people next to tied body dumping spots of totally different murders. And the people next to who have time collusion with youth/us and that. Things like that brought up by people who list a whole bunch of things as strangers. That's one of the pattern of things timed to people named Kevin Dillon, and Anna Dillon, and Thomas. I believe it's Thomas Dillon. I never met them. Had a conversation with them. They're involved all along the roads and routes like Hangdog Lane and Two Route Highway. Whole bunch of people tied to them, affecting confessions to me. And as their roles in predicate acts of people from my fourth grade class that I never even had conversations with. All exceptions, they use criminally foreign influence. Little kids, they keep each campus I went to had people put fake things in databases. Ray Reynolds is one of the ones involved interstates and interstate. I never tried to contact Ray Reynolds in my life. In other words, he has people involved interstates with the state police and other intelligence agencies, FBI, overt other countries, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and foreign and domestic medical families, for example, and their family members, their neighbors, the difference of that. And there's nothing personal, Ray Reynolds. This is a show. We don't know each other. They're trying to make us fake ties to each other since we are kids. And there's a Kevin Harris with his mother and his family involved with Quinnipiac University, with judges and prosecutors planting evidences with foreign and domestic countries. Identity theft, fraud, things, a whole bunch of fake ties, fake natures of ties between people. Has something to do with their roles with intelligence families along Hangdog Lane and Two Route Highway. Some of them sought me out to record and confess, demonstrate that. In other words, and they know that I don't know them. They try to make a fake exception. No. In other words, we have the same color eyes at the same time, except for how there are exceptions to some. We have this different color eyes at the same time. Nature is showing us about difference, about similarity, and about exceptions and exception nature, which nature teaches better than these delusions raw, criminally foreign influence, tactical delusions raw. Souls, A through Z, coming through these campuses, jumping in our conversations, faking and changing what people say about world change center predicate acts. Oh, but it was my motive. Get the hell out of people's conversations about serious things then, you sick fake punks. Follow mandated law. And why are you blocking my posts? And Fox Connecticut News. You have obligations by the law. You have digital crimes, yet further, whole digital crime methods with the kids, where you have more a whole bunch of foreign and domestic medical families. They're forging names of other doctors. These ones with the lame Leahy, whole men and women and their family members, different generations of the family working at Hartford Hospital's mental health side, they're putting their identity theft, fraud, slanders. So long, they have rules with untimely deaths and people from other areas planting evidence on my street through time. Fake ties of me, fake evidences for it. They're putting fake things in databases on a mass scale with various natures of courts, personally and professionally, criminally foreign influence with them. Let's get them on paper. Let's go. Judge Napolitano, get make sure he hears my voice. Get them, because they use his Facebook page before he was left. Fox Connecticut News, at it and since, has something to do with next to Fox Connecticut News. Whole bunch of people brought up the confessions of this Charlie Bowes, and I don't know them. They tried to make a fake exception with some girl who says it's his sister at the Old Town Cafe. Whole bunch of different agencies and criminally foreign influence right there with the judges and overt criminal enterprises, private ones, those same ones with the foreign countries. And right there is where George Washington had to come and leave slavery entrenched, but had to come counter-extort and force the means to win the last battle of the Revolutionary War. And it's right next to the witch trials place. Why would you leave out the witch trials place when you're trying to explain American history? Well, why would you leave out the slavery sickly distinctly against black when there was laws against everyone? Why wouldn't you tell that? You want to make sick, you want to value the sick bag sides because you can't defend yourself otherwise. You can't afford to be, let alone to protract. Reason proper with American history's values. You want to, that's debatable. But let's deal with some real premises and principles. You want to quote natures of history that can't be quoted with principles because you're covering up what it was all about. James Madison's plan. Then he was a president. He was a founder first. George Washington agreed to use that plan. You won't even allow people to be honest about the extortion of George Washington. You pretend it's theory. Black pupils, peer. We're going to watch what is inherent to, active to, and progressive to. Their fact-shaping nature, quality aspects in nature. Who dares to say that New York City doesn't have concentrated predicate acts clearer than day upon it, leveraged? And self-valued roles. That's sick game method from semi-ancient times, before modern religious messengers were even born. It is more probable and is more practical that pantheism was about the one identity hyper-simultaneous nature. But and it's functional that we don't agree on the name of it, because it's functional how it is hyper invisible but still discernible, distinctly from how it is invisible but still discernible, as the parts of speech, for example. And as it is the hyper invisible but still discernible, as why and how we need to appreciate those parts of speech, like the more than one word for a verb, and why they are grouped to the present participle and the past participle, the participle natures, to discern the complete identity of the verb. It is greater than it is, more finite than itself. In other words, so we'll address this, but we have to the sciences share an identity, but they have been party to the sciences, and they knew they could get people to self-value them, having been party where nature needs how they share, how it is functional, how they share an identity, and how they appear not to. But anyway, this is when nature employed us to contemplate other. We can ignore that system, but it will force Leith of Hadith, Earth's a special difference, your own special difference forced from here, as a negative identity relationship to itself. Nature doesn't want us to go. Our contemplations, how we can make more plastic bottles or adapt with it. Nature wants us to overcome it. Plus, you can do. We're supposed to get, if we need a machine, we pay for it. That's it. We don't pay for it. Okay, you need this, so you know, charge this much more than that, and then we need this. In other words, we need one thing to clean something for a time. We need to make soil for the ground. In other words, you don't charge for everything, especially when you're criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, rock collusion /S. So follow me to the law. Tell best boxing. Respond to me. Give me help. Get me help. I was walking, leading up to the World Trade Center. I'll tell you too, the group thing. Fear God, because one of the things that is evidence is how they attach me and everyone around me to fake and change ties to others as the ones involved with our own intelligence, recorded, changing and faking what I say about the World Trade Center attack because they're criminally involved. The breaching method showed them since they were kids that the right to lie is self-value, not our founders. All exceptions and exception that appear to be in demonstration of others, they come with demonstrations of the same thing. You guys have our founders' communications replaced. Pace! Get them on paper, one name and sequence. Let's go. Get them on paper now. And I want to wait till you see the violence involved. We're not going to leave that out. You got a whole bunch of people involved at spots next to where the Wethersfield police station is now. No, near the town line. And there's an electrical place there involved with people with the name Tomorrow, involved with the FBI and CIA, also on Facebook. Worse than criminal incompetence with every subject. Dear God. Well, see, all these people, they're fishing too when they put the guilt of the names of the agencies. And they're trying to show who knows there. No, get down, get on paper. Follow the predicate acts or the subject here. Get me off the fake conversations about the World Trade Center attack too. The WFSB pretended when I caught them with the child abuser. There's more people next to them involved with that then and now. Get them onto paper now. Big branches bow. Big baby bow. The wall. So, in other words, get them on paper, please. Tell Judge Napolitano too, because they've been using his social media remotely, changing and hiding it to all judges. Though this is a racketeering method worse than war crimes. Little simple method. It's only extensive where and how there are all the different bodies of involvement, like criminal enterprises. They have grouped tactically wrong black pupils. This breaching method knew that nature would demonstrate, because nature demonstrates with how we are grouped as a species individual body of individuals with all grouped differences being generated by the identity of hypersimultaneous. That one that shows us it is not our body, it is not the other species bodies that has us distinct, but also non-distinct and simultaneous, but also as that which is further hypersimultaneous and slash hypersimultaneous too, because again, it is not just functional, how is a distinct identity of hyperinvisible but still discernible, hyperconjunction to all the invisible but still discernible parts of speech, with grammars, with languages. It is also parts of itself, because we only have an extent of the complete identity of all space/existence that we can discern, but with any subject. But with any subject treatment with that proper, it comes with its complete identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that equally increasing three ways as the subject's value, as it's a complete identity of relationship to itself, that which is true always, and as the value of that. Then three natures of zero and the value of one started only increasing. Matter generated. In other words, but I digress. Let's focus on the predicate acts, like name switching.